Anderson, Clarksville, Fort Wayne, Tell City, Kokomo, Greenwood, Mount Vernon, Madison, New Albany, and Connersville. These aren't just a sampling of the cities we visited over our 80,000-mile journey across Indiana. It's also a sampling of cities across Indiana who have been forced to make the difficult decision of closing schools in response to the massive budget cuts required by our state officials. What happened to Governor Daniels' island of growth? It seems a bit more like a sea of misplaced priorities. These misplaced priorities could have been averted with better management from our state's financial leaders. The auditor must be more active as a watchdog for Hoosier taxpayers. When state agencies waste more money, the auditor must hold them accountable and call them out. Auditor of State Tim Berry has stood by, rubber stamping billions of dollars in state payments, while Hoosiers lose their jobs, lose their schools, and lose their vital public services. The examples of waste across Indiana abound. Last year, WTHR here in Indianapolis profiled a story about the number of overpriced office chairs at the State House. And Auditor Tim Berry signed the check. In 2009, the state spent over $1.2 million on trinkets and freebies with the state's logo on it. And Tim signed the check. Statewide office holders have spent millions in attorney fees fighting against voter rights and fighting to keep union employees from going back to work. And Tim signed the check. These same state office holders have spent millions more promoting themselves on TV and on the radio and using state-owned vehicles to make campaign stops throughout the state. And Tim signed the check. And worst of all, the Republicans led the disastrous outsourcing to IBM of one of the state's most important public programs. And Tim signed the check. As if this weren't bad enough, transparency seems to be a foreign word for our state Republicans. Big hoops, antiquated technology, meet Hoosiers who want to find out just basic information about how their tax dollars are being spent. I know, though, that it's not enough to simply identify the problems and hold them accountable. We must also solve them. We will lead by alerting agency heads, taxpayers, and the media of wasteful spending as it takes place, and we will report more often than annually the state of our state's financial resources. We will institute more robust accounts payable and contract audit procedures, an idea from the private sector that will yield $10 million worth of results in the first year without adding a single dime of cost to the taxpayer. We will lobby the General Assembly for reform of the state's audit process and attempt to eliminate gaps and overlaps within the state's financial agencies. And we will post every transaction the state conducts online for full public discernment. In almost every state and major metropolitan area across our country. To pursue these ideas, I proudly and humbly accept your nomination to be State Auditor. We have the message and the energy to make this race winnable for the first time in nearly 3 decades. But I must have your help to make it possible. Visit our booth outside the convention hall today, learn how you can get involved with our campaign, give us your email address, or join our prestigious group of followers, the Lock Stars. You have some brochures on your seats. Let's not have the momentum that we leave with here today leave when we get home. Thank you again, and let's get to work.